Alright, this is my Star Wars scene, and I'm gonna show you exactly how we made it.
That was a decent first attempt.
Have you ever thrown anything ever before?
I once threw rocks on Tatooine. Think you're gonna get anywhere close to that? It worked. You hooked it.
Here it comes. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh my God, it's a rat. Seriously, should we throw this? I think we're safe. We're safe
Okay,
here.
can
We
you
are safe.
throw it?
Okay. What? You're gonna shoot me? You're gonna shoot me now.
Throw it!
Okay!
Alright, so I've been working on this video off and on for a couple months now. As most of you probably know, I created a show called Homemade Movies, starting with the Man of Steel trailer, which was right here on my channel. On that show, we did everything entirely handmade, and we made some really cool props and costumes and miniatures and stuff, but I wanted to take that to the next level and really bring both worlds together, the very low tech and the very high tech. So that was the idea, and I thought the Star Wars universe was the perfect place to try it out. It's more playing up the fact that that is the tiniest grappling hook ever. On a tiny little string.
Wow.
You're just like, yeah, the reluctant, like,
hold this.
It's kind of like, come on, like, be a hero, you know, save me. Luke's costume was really easy. It was just an oversized white plain button-up shirt that I kind of modified to look like Luke's shirt in this. Luke is wearing one of the Stormtrooper belts, so I took a regular belt and just made all those little boxes out of cardboard and just glued them on and then painted the whole thing white. And then instead of trying to really make these boots that he wears, I just used some old tan-colored fabric and cut strips, just wrapped it around his feet and sort of taped it into place so it kind of looked like those wrappy boot things that Luke wears.
Oh, that's great.
Leia's outfit is very flowy and silky, and I couldn't find a robe like that, so for the top half I just used like a Victoria's Secret nightie thing that I found at a thrift store and had to put it on backwards, so that way it just kind of was plain in the front, but it did have the nice flowy sleeves. And for the bottom half, I wanted to try and match that fabric, but I couldn't find anything in the clothing section, but I did find something in bedding. So I just cut that off and made that into the skirt. And it's actually attached to the belt, that way she could just wrap the belt right on and it would be all attached. And so it kind of looks like she's wearing one piece thing, but it's really two pieces. The belt was just, again, a regular belt that I added pieces of cardboard to, looking at some reference photos to try and get those same shapes, and then just painted the whole thing. The blaster was really fun to make. Now the base of it was a laser tag gun from the 80s. So basically I just looked at the shapes and just kind of extended the front of it with some PVC pipe and the back of it as well. Just kind of cut the pipe into the right shapes. Added on lots of little gizmos and gadgets out of my junk box and tried to match a lot of the shapes. And the scope on top was an old flashlight that I had that was broken, so that was kind of the perfect shape for that. And some little circuit boards and popsicle sticks, and then painted it matte black. It's actually a little bit bigger than I think the props in the movie, but looks pretty awesome. Like, here's another Nerf gun that will probably end up turning into something. But I like having them on hand because it's easy to build onto them. That's
It is awesome in this.
Then I had to make the grappling hook, so I looked up some pictures of the one they had in the movie, so I tried to just match the shapes and just glue some stuff together. I was just watching the video back and I realized that this is way too big, especially for the joke of the video, that he's trying to throw this little tiny grappling hook and that will carry their weight. So I did end up just remaking the thing entirely and made a smaller version, which I think was much funnier, so it was worth the extra effort. Okay, so the plan for shooting this was that I was gonna build an actual doorway for them to stand in front of, and I knew that later I'd be able to augment that and make it seem bigger with set extension. All right, I'm gonna start building this doorway, and I'm gonna kind of attach it to the actual frame of the house here. It'll be nice to build on top of something that already exists. So it's just a lot of cardboard and just figuring out the dimensions. I wanted it to have those rounded corners, so I just bent some cardboard to come up like that. So first it was just the sides and then kind of connecting the top piece and giving it some depth so that it could stand inside of it. I spray painted everything with gray primer. I went through like 4 cans of this stuff, but it's this perfect Star Wars kind of color. So this thing attaches to my doorway, and then it still needed the back side. All right, so I've got the whole frame up, but I'm trying to figure out how to do the back wall that needs to be closed in this scene. But I don't want to attach something permanently because we'll need to come in and out of this room. So I'm trying to figure that out. All right, so this is the back wall. It's hanging from the ceiling with 2 ropes, and then there's little tabs all around the sides where I can just clip it into place. So once all the shapes were there and it was painted, I went in with a Sharpie and did all the details and just kind of drew those out, and then I added the lights. I'm gonna cut holes up and down this whole thing to let the light in, so I'm using this stencil that I made that's the right shape. So I'm gonna trace it and make a bunch of them and then cut them out and light it from behind. I found out a new trick this time. Usually we cut stuff with box cutters, but I used the Dremel because this is really thick cardboard. So you're able to just kind of like go right through it and do curves a lot better. So that was a new technique that I wish I would have thought of sooner. So I did all of the holes. There's tons of them. All right, so I cut all the holes out, and now to make them light up, I'm gonna fill them with thin tissue paper and then light them from the back. So they're actually gonna be backlit lights that will light up the whole doorway, hopefully bright enough to light the actors even. All right, time to turn on the lights. All right, so once all the prep was finally done, it was time to shoot this thing. So I have Chris Singer. Once again, we just threw him in a wig. He actually makes a really good Luke Skywalker, and he played Luke Skywalker in my last Homie Movies episode, which was the battle on Hoth. And then as Princess Leia, I've got Cat Alter. So we had the Princess Leia wig for her. A lot of the reviews were like, don't buy this. I'm like, done.
But first, let's take a selfie.
I also had my buddy Yasu come and help out, holding a second camera while we're doing some of the improvised scenes. That way, depending on what the actors did with it, I could cut back and forth between two cameras. Usually you just kind of shoot one way and then shoot another way and just kind of edit it together.
It's fine, it's fine, it's gonna be fine.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, there,
oh,
see,
okay.
see there.
This.
Oh,
Why did you get a grappling hook?
it's got one good hook, it's got one good hook.
So it really helped a lot having two different camera angles going at the same time.
What do you want to do with the grappling hook?
Swing across, but now I'm not so sure.
Okay. There's a cool practical effect that we did, which is that when Luke shoots the panel on the doorway, it kind of explodes and smoke comes out. I made the panel. It's just the panel with some silver spray paint and the red and blue buttons and just kind of drew it out and everything. So that's the clean side. I've just decided I'm gonna make this double-sided. One will be the clean side before it gets shot, and then the back will be the shot up side. So I can just switch to the broken side and switch back to the non-broken side if I need to. So to shoot it, we had the clean side up, just attached with some wires, and then Yasu's on the back side of the wall. So at the right moment, he actually just taps the back of it so it swings up and hits the smoke machine button so smoke goes through.
That ought to hold him for a while. Good work, Smoke.
Thank you. And then later, I just augmented that with a little explosion and the red beam from the blaster. Switches to Dustin.
Whoa.
Whoa, this is how George Lucas did it.
All right, so the first big visual effects trick is to do sort of a set extension on the existing doorway. So I shot Kat and Chris straight on, standing in the doorway, knowing that I could then add in the rest of that wall. I just dropped them and the doorway right into the miniature. And I didn't really have to put any green screen up or anything because they're not overlapping anything that's not already the gray wall. At least that's what I thought. They did end up kind of breaching it a little bit, their hands or their feet here and there, so I had to go in and fine tune that and cut it out by hand.
It's on boomerang mode.
Okay.
I set it on boomerang mode. It was like,
Now the miniature itself is a big cardboard set that I made with the doorway, so I just did a replica of the same doorway, but made it very small. I made the little sides, used a little white paint pen to draw on the lights, I matched the lines on the door, so I just got one nice clean still of the front of that doorway and the ledge. Alright, so this is my main ledge miniature. Now I just have to shoot it from all the different angles and try and match up the backgrounds. There's even one where you see two ledges at once, and I just cheated it. I'm gonna shoot it from this side, and then flip the camera around over here so I can get the other side and just put those together for the big background. So I've got the ledge on one side and then the ledge on the other side, and I photoshopped it together to make one big background plate. And then to insert the actors into those types of shots, we went full green screen. So that's just setting up the big green sheet in my living room, floor to ceiling, and actually across the ceiling too, because some shots have to look up. So completely surrounded by green. So we just tried to match up the angles as best we can, and knowing what the angles were going to be of the miniatures that I'd shoot later, trying to match those angles with the actors.
We're in a room full of kittens!
I'm allergic.
There's two shots from inside the hallway looking out. Made the little floor ramp there, extended the walls out. And then since they were going to be shooting their blasters in that shot, which was going to be a totally CG effect, I still wanted to do something physical with that. So I flashed the flashlight in there just to get some actual real light lighting up the wall, so it wouldn't be completely fake. But then I did add in the blasters themselves, the red beams, and some little explosions and some smoke and stuff. And then the door closes too, so I have the actual door that slides through a slot that I can just push down until it closes. Another full green screen shot that we did is the final swing at the end. So we had Kat sitting on a stool and Chris behind her kneeling on a little ottoman, and then that's covered with the green sheet. And then we just had them kind of mime the movements, so that way, like, as their angle changes, it would kind of make sense. He kind of starts with his leg out more and then sort of just ends up bringing it down. And I did have to do a lot of rotoing around the legs and the shadows and stuff because, as you can see, there's a lot of shadows on that green sheet too. And I actually removed Chris's leg that was sticking out entirely and just kind of cut that off. Snap!
You're okay? Yeah.
In some of those miniature shots, you see the stormtroopers, and those are just G.I. Joes that I already had. I knew that I wanted to use them like we used to do on homemade movies, but it'd be cool to see those interacting on the same exact sets that the real actors are placed into. And then another difference is that this time I wanted to remove the wires. They're attached from above, and I just kind of move them in, but then I just removed the wires by revealing the background and kind of touching that up, so you can't really see where they're attached. And they're really in that environment, so it kind of blurs the line between what's real, what's green screen. It's all still handmade in real life.
Welcome back to The Empire's Got Talent, the duo of stormtroopers on the trampoline.
There's the one shot of the grappling hook actually going around and hooking, and that ended up being really tricky to shoot. I built the background and kind of just matched it up with the right shapes and painted a box and put the pipe in there and stuff. So what I did was I wrapped it around, and then I had a fishing string so that I could kind of yank on the fishing string to loosen it up and then pull on the other rope to get it to swing around. But it took a lot of tries to get that right. But then once I finally nailed it and played that in reverse, it looked really cool.
Look, I have not learned to use the Force yet. I imagine if I could possibly make this happen.
You know, I was told this is gonna be a bigger pot.
Lasagna.
Ah, pasta.
Ah.
I don't remember this from Star Wars.
It's the Italian version, spaghetti western.
Basically, we're just doing the same thing that we were doing in the movie.
Yeah.
Alright, I thought we were gonna be able to use our comedy skills. I've been taking improv classes.
Why is Han not returning my texts?
I don't want to throw this yet. I think we should talk.
About what?
I don't know life.
Hey guys, I'm here.
One grapple left.
Yeah, I found out what the problem was. Pretty much this is made from cardboard, so that's why it doesn't work.
Don't do it! Don't do it!
I've been dating Captain Kirk.
Will you spend the rest of your life with me?
I'm feeling more related.
Alright, well I think that's pretty much it. If you have any other questions on how I made it, let me know in the comments and I'll try and answer back. And thanks to Kat and Chris for being in this. You guys were awesome, and Yasu for helping shoot it. So I've got some more stuff coming out. I've got another alternate scene like this one planned, so stay tuned for that, and another series that I'm going to be debuting pretty soon. So we'll see you then.